I think that's an interesting thought, but you know, it's an oversaturated market in all creative fields, and everything. And we're an overconsumed society in so many different facets, but that's when the real ones rise to the top. And like you were saying, like it's all cute until, you know, you actually have to put in that work.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Athletic Aesthetic Podcast, and my name is Vinnie. I'm your host. I'm here with my co-host,
Tipton.
Today we have an awesome episode for you, and we have our buddy Jesse Woods. He's a sneaker customizer, and not just that, man. He's much more, and you'll see that in our interview. What's your favorite part of our conversation?
Just the fact that he's a cut and sew artist, man. He really takes a lot of time to do the work that he does, bro, and he doesn't really waste much time either, bro. Like, he's serious about his business and he's crazy about his art. So I'm looking forward to this one,
dude. No doubt, and you'll see too. Like, we get into like how we met. Some of the things we have cooking. I'm really excited about some of the collaboration work that him and I are going to do together. And he actually brought in a little gift for us, too, so we unveil that here on the show. And it's a good episode, episode 36. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure that you are following along. Follow us on social media. Follow Jesse. In the description below, you'll see his Instagram. And that's it, man. You ready to go?
Let's get it cracking.
Let's go.
What's up, everybody? It's Straight Tip and my man VC2 here. We're trying to get to a...
Wait, start over.
Okay.
I didn't like the way I was standing.
Okay. How do you want to stand?
You did great.
Okay. Here we go.
This is better. This is more of a power stance.
All right. Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Here we go. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Trey Tip and my man VC2. We are here as Athletic Aesthetic Podcast, and we're not too far from a big goal. What big goal is that, Vinnie?
Dude, we're almost at 2,000 subscribers.
2,000.
We need your help. If you're watching this video and you don't subscribe to us already, that's all we're asking you to do.
So let's make this easy. You know you see the button. You know what you need to do. So do it.
Somewhere down here.
Somewhere down here, do it. Follow the team.
Click subscribe, dude.
Subscribe. Follow. Comment. Everything, man. You know what to do. You know, just do it. Do it.
There we go. Look at that.
Yeah. You Winnie with Vinnie.
Hey guys, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah.
We got a special episode today. Got my man Trey. You already know what it is.
You know.
We got a special guest. He is a good friend of ours that we met over the past year. He's actually been sharing a studio space with me downtown Pittsburgh. And when I say sharing, he has been owning that space because that man's in there grinding. You may have seen me post him on my Instagram here recently. But without further ado, the Jesse Woods.
Woo!
Here in the studio.
Thank you, y'all. It's a pleasure to be here. Love it.
Doing good?
Oh, yeah. How you guys doing?
Doing great, man. It's glad
It's
to
an
have
honor
you
to be on. Yeah. This
welcome.
is the spot. This is the
So,
spot.
it's pretty crazy that you have been operating solely out of the studio downtown, and the first podcast of ours that you're on is in Wexford.
Yes. Yeah. I thought I was gonna be on the last one, but this, I mean,
Yeah, we were
it's
just
all
waiting,
come together.
we were
Yeah.
just waiting until we got the call up to the big leagues before we had
Yes,
you
sir.
on
Yes, sir.
and all that. So what's going on, man? Let's start here with maybe for the listeners or watchers, viewers, whatever what are we gonna call our audience? We need an audience name. Comment an audience name, because like
Aesthetics.
Swifties,
Aesthetics.
The Addies.
the Addies. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, I
okay.
don't know if that sounds
It's not good. But for all the avid listeners out there, tell them a little bit about yourself, how you got started and what you're doing. And all
and where
that.
you're from.
Yeah.
Yeah. So born and raised Pittsburgh, PA. So basically, in short, how it all kind of came about was back in high school. Can't really get all the shoes that you want, and you get one pair or whatever, and you got to make it last. So I always preserved my stuff as much as possible, kept things clean, just kept them in good shape. And as I was in high school, I started noticing people be like, "Oh, these shoes are beat on. I don't need these anymore. I don't want them. I'm getting rid of them or whatever." So I buy them real cheap, clean them up, and either keep them for myself. And then I started getting on eBay, so I would buy real cheap, try to sell as high as possible. But what I would do is I'd make them worth that value. So there's little things you could do on stuff like that, eBay, and make the pictures look good, put a good description, make it look professional. And I was just a kid in high school at that point. So, you know, as the things are progressing, I'm learning about restoring. Things on the internet are starting to come around it. It's at least being more talked about. And I wasn't 100% aware of it, even though I do my digging on things like that. I'm sure that, you know, this stuff was all coming up because I look at my timeline and I look at the timeline of where everything, you know, shoes, clothes, all that stuff started to grow and pop off. It was kind of like we were running in the same path without really even knowing what was happening. So I started working on, you know, painting shoes to restore them. So you get a pair and like the Jordan 3s, they crack on the side. I would restore that. And then I started getting into then painting murals on there, like painting images or color swapping. And I was like, I really like this. And I started seeing like, you know, the reactions of what people thought. And I was like, you know what, this is my canvas. Because I understand that, you know, canvas painting's been around for so long. And I was like, you know, how can I be a little different, you know? And so as I started painting on shoes, I then got a little sewing awl, which is a hand sewing tool, you would call it. Then I sewed up a pair of shoes that had a rip in them. And then I was like, oh, so I could sew on these shoes. So the next thing I did was I started deconstructing some materials and adding this, what I called a Frankenstein stitch at the time. And it was just this real rugged, you know, you look at Frankenstein, he's got the stitches around him and it's real rugged. So I kind of leaned into that because actually at that time, my style was kind of like a grungy, like, you know, like, you know, punk art in a way. Cause that's a lot of where.
What kind of music did you listen to in high school?
So it's more.
Good question.
Well, the thing is what it is interesting.
Come on, bro. Just answer
Oh
it.
no, I'll answer it. I'll answer it because I know
He's like,
you're
hold on,
thinking.
hold on.
I know you're thinking I was gonna say like rock and, you know, heavy metal and stuff. That was in my earlier years because I grew up in a house where my dad was very big on music and my mom was as well. But as I got into high school, and this is still the music I listen to today. We had everybody listening to Drake and stuff, and I was just telling Trey this the other day. My music was Juicy J, Young Dolph,
Hey, he was
Gucci
out
Mane,
there
like
acting.
Rick Ross. Like I remember being in high school, like
hear his
my
new
my album was like Blue Dream and Lean, like that was from Juicy J. Like, and if you know of that or Rubber Band Business and any of that.
Shoot.
That was not your typical, like, and I'm from North Hills.
Yeah.
so
Fans will make her dance.
yeah.
That's the one I know. I know that one.
I mean, Juicy
All
J,
white bricks.
Young Dolph. Yeah,
White
yes.
bricks.
Oh my God.
Had it.
It was that, yeah. I was definitely in my own little circle with listening to that. If you were to, like, I used to show my music, like, you know, play some music, you know, get in the car, get the aux.
Like,
and
who
they'd be
get
like,
the
what
aux?
is this?
Yeah.
Like, we want to listen to, like, you know, whatever was hot at the time.
Yeah,
Drake
what did your friend group mostly listen to?
basically my music rubbed off because that's all I would play. And then they started to just get it because I love heavy beats. I love heavy, like I don't like the new, like, you know, it's kind of like lullaby-ish, like, you know, that has its place, but not essentially like in rap for me at least. I like like when you listen to a Young Dolph like album and then you try to listen to like Drake. I'm just referencing that because that everybody understands that, but you try to listen to those two, they are very different. And I like my contrast, but you know, as far as music that I was bumping in the car,
It was dope.
Young Dolph. I've never been so upset about somebody passing away.
What about
when I
Key
was
Glock?
young. Yeah, so that was Young Dolph brought them in, and I
Yes.
see the sound of that.
Yes.
Like and like so I love Southern rap too.
Okay.
So
I'm
that
a Texas
was
guy too.
Yes, yeah.
Big
and
Texas. Shout out to Mexican OT.
yes. See, and I like how they're continuing that. Like, and then especially with Mexican OT, he's very lyrical, and you know he's able to still keep that like that gritty.
that
It's just
deep
gritty.
gritty.
Like, yeah, it just hits something in my soul. And I think it actually, going back to what you were thinking that I was gonna say, is it brings those roots out of like the heavy metal. I grew up
Right.
on Metallica, Megadeth, and all that type of stuff, and that was what my dad listened to. So yeah, that was kind of an inspiration, and I was translating that into some of my pieces. Like, you know, one of my first pieces was a pair of Doc Martens, and I completely cut them up, and then I put like this blood ox corduroy on there with like, and I made these like little leather skulls and put them on, and it's a cool shoe, and I had black fur on it and stuff, and
You
that.
still have that shoe?
I think I started to deconstruct it again because a part of some of the stuff I'm doing is showing like, you know, what I did before and then chopping it up again and just redoing it, just showing that like I can just create my own like art, you know.
And you could do it over and over and over.
Absolutely, like I could just chop it up, and you know, my whole thing is cutting up materials and then making them look beautiful again. But yeah, so then to get back onto what I was saying was the next step, once I started doing that, I actually had an old Gucci bag. I think it was like, I don't know where it came from. It was just something that might have been thrifted a long time ago. I don't know what it was really. It's just, it was a Gucci bag, and I had a pair of Jordan 11s, and I cut that up and did my Frankenstein stitch on there. And then that is when, that's kind of when things started to change. So I was, just working just to get just to really create.
Were you out of high school at this point?
Yeah. So this was about, I've only really been doing what I do for about 3 years,
Wow.
which is it's
Well,
pretty quick.
I'm interested though. I want to shape you not only just for what you do with the shoes. Because if people have been on your page, like, listen, you don't got to sell your product to anybody.
Yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
they've
They know
seen
who
it.
you are.
Yeah.
The shit's dope. Like
Yeah.
it's legit. I want to sell you for a second.
Okay.
So like, because let's go back to.
I like that.
You graduate high school. Right?
Okay.
What's the next step?
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So I ended up going to, so I'll just give you a little insight. What I wanted to do from day one when I was younger, as soon as I could figure out what I wanted in life, I wanted to be an architect. I love design. Back in high school, I was never I just couldn't take school serious. I didn't really when I say I don't want to say I didn't respect, but there was nobody in that school system that I was like, I want to be like them. You know what I mean? So I never had that connection. But I knew I was creative. And the classes that I connected with was the engineering classes. And using AutoCAD, which is a design program. I don't have a ton of design, computer. I like to use my hands. But back in high school, it was AutoCAD. And then we would build stuff out of cardboard. And I had some of the, as things progressed, a lot of kids in those classes ended up going to be engineers. And obviously I didn't, but I had some stuff that, teacher would pull me aside and be like, you really got something with this. Right. And, but unfortunately being an architect, especially coming from Pittsburgh, and, you have to travel outside of the state and it's expensive, and did not have that money for it. So out of high school, I kind of was just like, all right, I just need to get a degree and I'm going to figure it out. I feel like I had a good foundation of skills and whatnot. So I went to CCAC, which is community college for those that don't know, did that for the first 2 years. And I'm starting to think to myself, okay, what can I do? And again, I'm still kind of playing with shoes at this time. I don't really know that this could be my my actual dream. And so just going to CCAC, going to work, CCAC, and then kind of coming home and I, work on some shoes here and there. I was just kind of selling things on eBay. Then I go to Slippery Rock. I go there for a year, and that's the first time I'm really out and about myself, which felt really good.
What year is that?
2000. So it's going to be hard. I don't have a great memory for timelines and stuff. It was supposed to be my third year in college.
Okay.
So two years at CCAC, got all that taken care of.
You graduated 2013, you said, right?
Yes. Yeah.
This is 17, 18 for you?
Yeah. I graduated. Yeah. I graduated high school with 13. And so, yeah, we're talking probably 16, maybe going to Slippery Rock. I think it was 16. And I go there, and Slippery Rock's just kind of known for just kind of a party school. Nothing crazy, but, and I didn't go crazy out there. I kind of went out there and was like, oh, this is completely new. And I felt good to be on my own and start to, explore the world and build myself a community of people. And I go out there and things just kind of simmer out. And I get to a point where I'm like, I got to figure this out, because I wasn't really putting that crazy effort. I didn't feel like I was connected to anything. Right. I was in there for marketing and business and stuff, and I just was like, this isn't for me. I have to make a change. So I ended up going and graduating at La Roche, which La Roche University is close to my house back home. So I came back home, and I actually, when I went there, this kind of delayed. So I graduated in 5 years, and the reason why it took me 5 years is when I returned back to La Roche, I actually was like, you know what? I'm going to go for interior design. I can't go for architecture because it's going to be 8 years before I figure this out. So I'm going to go for interior design because I still really like that. You get to use AutoCAD.
So that makes sense now why you like to do your shoes.
Absolutely. I mean, I realized I was like, I have to use my creative mind.
Right.
I do feel like, if there's any God-given gifts, it's that would be one of them. I'm proud of that. I do think I look at things in a unique, different way. And I felt, I got to get into this. So, I graduate from La Roche, I'm there, and I don't finish the interior design because it was a program that was going under reconstruction. So everything was different and weird, and it just was a mess. And I was like, listen, I got to just get this piece of paper, get this degree, and figure it out. I know I'll be okay. I see the competition, like who I went to school with or, you know, who's out in the market. I was like, I think we're all pretty aware that if you're a hard worker these days, like in the world we live in, you'll figure it out. So that's, you know, I finished that up and, you know, end up finding myself just like really starting to like, okay, I got to really work for myself. Cause I had the, you know, I have a 3-part bachelor's degree. I'm psychology, management, and marketing. Like, and all 3 of those are equivalent to a bachelor's. So it's like almost like 3 degrees. The way the degree I got was very interesting. I was actually like saved by my dean there. I was on my way to walk out. My
Dude,
papers.
I actually have a similar story. I don't have a bachelor's degree. I have a regent's degree.
Okay.
So a regent's degree is essentially I couldn't make up my mind.
Yeah.
I changed my major enough times that I had more than enough credits to graduate from college, but I had not enough credits in one area.
Yeah.
So they're like, this is like, and I went through some hardship, which we've talked about, but like in that year, I was like, I just kind of want to be done.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to go home. And they were like, well, you don't have a, you know, bachelor's degree technically, but a regent's degree is equivalent to it because, you know, it's a form of a bachelor's degree. So same thing. I was like, dude, I just want to get a piece of paper just to prove that I was here. Like, can I just get a receipt from the bookstore?
Like a receipt, that'd be cool.
Well, that's exactly what happened with me because I went to the dean and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I was 3.5, almost 4 years in. Like, I did it, and I was like, I'm pulling out. Like, I can't. I don't even care if it doesn't come to the finish line because I didn't find myself really being passionate or realizing that I'm going to do something with it anyways. But what happened is I went to my dean and you know, she was like, listen, like, she's like, I like you and, you know, I think, you know, you're smart and whatnot, but it would be a disservice for you not to just duke it out for a half extra year. And my degree is actually called interdisciplinary studies, which I'm surprised they didn't ask you about that either because that is a bachelor's level. Like, it's a bachelor, and what they do is interdisciplinary study is for people like ourselves. You know, go figure, the 2 creatives can't decide on what they want to do for the rest of their life. Go figure. Yeah, it's like it's a tough battle, but what she said is like, okay, so listen, an interdisciplinary studies degree, you can take these, you already have psychology courses, you have some marketing, and you need a couple more. So you take all of the 3,000 to 4,000 level, which is the graduating numbers that you need to graduate in your field. You just merge it all together and you remove the elective stuff.
Wow.
And that is why I stuck in there, because I was handed calculus in college and I said, I'm just not going to learn this. I don't care to. There's no need for it. Like, I got into that class and I was like, oh, I'm going to have to really study for this. I said, no, thank you. I'd rather put this energy towards something else that I'm going to use. I haven't used anything above a basic math since college. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's when she presented that, and I was able to get rid of all those nonsense classes, which this should be the way that college is looked at in the future. Get rid of these nonsense classes, fill them in with actual classes. That makes sense.
They can't make money that way, bro.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know. And that's what's unfortunate.
Everything's about the dollar, baby.
Yeah.
But you said something very, very inspirational. You said that it's very important for you to stand on who you are as a creative.
Absolutely.
So express that a little bit. Tell me what it means for you to be a creative and how much it actually means to you.
It's a lonely, lonely world for the beginning stages of it. And I think anybody that's ever actually tried to create something, you know, I know that being at that studio, Vinnie has seen it, and we've been able to share conversations and share the similar feelings of there's no camera crew watching you. This ain't a movie. This is your own movie, but there's no camera crew watching. Like, look at all these hours this dude's putting in. No, I think it gets misunderstood a lot of times. People are like, you know, oh, you know, it's hard work. But there are points in my time where there's months we're talking, no speaking to people, no going out, no doing nothing. I was, you know, telling Brian the other day, we went to the Penguins game. I was like, I think this is the 5th time I've been out all year.
Come on,
you
talk
know,
about
like
it.
the 5th time, and that's me like, okay, I have to do this. Like, I have to go out or something like that. And I try to like make it valuable where and how I spend my time. But being a creative is definitely not for the weak-hearted. And I think, you know, it's an insight on not only who you are as a human, but just how you perceive and how life flows through you. Ooh. So when I see a designer or an artist, I'm very quickly able to tell, does this creativity, does this run through your blood? Or is this just a game for you? And I could see the ones that, this is your life source.
Right.
And
right.
I genuinely believe to make it in a field like this, that is what you need. That needs to be ingrained in your soul. And what's even crazier, as you could probably testify to, both of you, with knowing how many athletes out there, who was the next Michael Jordan that never made it to the league because something happened in life, injuries,
100%.
something happens, and they never get that opportunity.
Right.
But you could see it in there. Exactly. And you could see that in there with the people that bleed it. Yeah, he's pointing to you, and I agree with that. But you could see, like, you know, even when those guys are like off on the streets now, just living their normal life, you're like, oh, this guy was like, something happened where he was, you know, supposed to be somebody. Because in sports, you know, you could still be somebody without that. But you just look at it and like the way that they function, the way that they move, the energy that they give off is like that was their passion. And for being a creative, it's a life, it's a whole lifestyle. This is not like some, you know, fun, cute thing to do. There's a lot of long hours, a lot of stress.
It's cute until like it gets tough.
Yeah.
And then
Till you got
then you
deadlines.
see who's like really about it.
Yeah, here's the thing, though. I feel like you guys are blessed in a way for being creatives right now in this specific era, because I feel like for the first time in history, right now is the perfect time for you to really take on your life and being a creative. I feel like in past times, being an artist on the low was very difficult. Like, you're not being able to put your art out there. You're not being able to put yourself out there. Right now, in this specific era, we're in the era of creatives. Like, people who do videography are getting calls almost on the daily or getting something from somebody. People who are painting shoes are getting NFL athletes, hitting them up on the daily. Like, this is the era of the creative. So I feel like, me personally, you can correct me if I'm wrong, like, this era is the primetime era to be a creative.
Well, it's a double-edged sword, too, if you think about that.
It is.
Because that means it's an oversaturated
It's an
market,
oversaturated
and
market.
only the big dogs rise to the top.
So you got to
And
be ready.
You gotta work
that's-
even harder, bro.
Absolutely. And that's why I pivoted into the sewing onto the shoes, is because I just saw a lot of people getting to the point where they could paint on shoes. And there's levels to it. Like, I realized the time that I was going to have to put in to get to that next level of painting, to get to a Vinnie level, to get to, you know, some of these other guys' level of painting. I was like, okay, I could invest my time into that and work on the painting. Or I could see this, like, I got this little, like, thing I got working on. And it was just getting, because I'm all self-taught and everything, and looking back at things, like when I look at the videos that I'm like consuming now maybe, or just doing my research on my field, I'm like, oh, they were kind of doing that around the same time. It's that weird theory that they say somebody in one end of the world could come up with an idea or something, and somebody on the other side of the world, because it's like we're all connected that way. So I think that's an interesting thought, but you know, it's an oversaturated market in all creative fields, like in everything.
Right.
And we're an overconsumed society in so many different facets, but that's when the real ones rise to the top. And like you were saying, like, it's all cute until, you know, you actually have to put in that work. And that's, you know, I think a lot of times it's like, if you just stay in your little circle, or the people that are yes men around you, everybody's like, oh, you're doing great. Like, this is amazing. If you listen to that, you're going to fail. I'm sorry. Like, you want to be thankful for those people, but you got to keep pushing. You can't get comfortable at that stage.
But I feel like you guys both deal with this, and I feel like, Swing, you also have some sense of this a little bit as well, man, is where when you're the creative that believes in your dream the most and nobody else does, you know what I mean? Like, when you have to explain to your family what you're doing, and your family keeps telling you, like, yo, like, are you going to get a real job? Like, you know what I mean? Like, did you not see how much money I just made off of this? But that's the thing, though, bro. They don't see the countless hours and the countless time. And you can also say, bro, as a creative, bro, like, most creatives that I've met don't know business. But the ones that know business and are creative are very dangerous, because their minds can go anywhere and they can get it done.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So you're starting to see that flip over, that you're starting to see where, like, creatives are having to be more business-like because there's more business out there now. You know what I mean? Like, yo, like, if you don't pay attention to your log or your money log, you could have missed out on maybe $200,000 just because many people already done hit your line. You just ain't have time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, like,
Absolutely.
I low-key wish I was more of a creative, you know what I mean, in a certain way that I could sell something, because I used to be a clothes guy. Like, me and my boys, we used to sell clothes. I was hustling, bro. I'm telling you, like, if you was in my school, like, yo, pull up to the locker right after this, you feel me? We'll get you right, you know what I'm saying? Get you, what is it, I'll give you a 5% discount. You know what I'm saying? Just pull up after.
Yeah.
That's kind of where my realm was, right? So I did clothing for a little bit. I was in the Monroeville Mall when the riots happened. Yeah, I was standing on top of my kiosk like this, like, yo, back up, bro. You know what I mean? Don't touch my stuff, you feel me? The transition. Welcome back to the Athletic Aesthetic Podcast. So I noticed, right? We was talking about your shoes, and I seen a couple pairs of your shoes, and you were like,
Can you pass some of them over
I
here and get them on?
want to see some of these. Like this one's definitely certified fabric that you bought because this is beautiful.
Yeah, that's all.
This looks like you went back in
freestyled
time.
it. Yeah,
and
You
like,
remember those blue ones right there?
I could actually give you like a little bit of insight on those and why I like do those. So
this looks like you beat up a king.
yeah,
and, like,
I'm so glad you said that
took his
because my inspiration, believe it or not, I have a bunch of different things that I'm inspired by, but it's actually Victorian. I love royal Victorian, what kings and queens would wear, what you know, if you, because I actually grew up like we would always thrift antiques and stuff, like, you know, always just tried to like stretch our you know money for as far as we could go. So my mom was always like interested in like thrifting and stuff, so I grew up around like a lot of paisley, a lot of like velvet, like a lot of gold trims and stuff. So I'm absolutely like obsessed with the idea of bringing Victorian and royal aesthetics to modern day like clothes and like in a street sense too. I mean, you ever see like a pair of Victorian Air Force Ones? I mean, like that's like just two worlds colliding, and that's something I really want to continue to pursue, and kind of in the pair that you have there as well too.
Like
I mean,
these
that's
are heat.
a floral with velvet and like, you know, and that's a snake skin on the logo. But yeah, and that's also why I like, it's not even about the hype. I know when people see like Louis Vuitton and Gucci and stuff, they might think like, oh, it's a hype beast. Like I've always like been super into the Louis Vuitton and the Gucci and these colorways specifically too. I love the brown with the gold, the tan. There's just something about that, you know, I don't, you know, you look at even Jordan brands doing that. Jordan used to be like the Chicago colorways and stuff, and those still hit, like they're still very prominent, but now they're going into like earth tones, like neutral colors and stuff. But my vision for that stuff is making, like, when I want you to hold my pair, I want you to be like, oh, I could see, like, you know, you got Yeezys going for thousands. Like, if you give me $1,000 budget to work with, you're gonna get it. Like, you're gonna look at that shoe and be like, these are,
Bro,
you know, these are worth
crazy.
whatever the price that you pay on them. But I think that there's so many little details that are missed out on shoes. Like, if you look at some of the stuff, like on that maroon pair, that's a velvet trim with gold accents. You know, like there's I think there's 5 different layers of different patterns and styles on that shoe that's all just merged together, and that was just a freestyle. I just was given like, just do whatever you want on them, and you know, you want to get an insight of how my brain looks. It's kind of like that right there, and that's just like, and that's still keeping it street because it's still got like the off-whites, you know, straps across and everything.
Yeah, no, these are crazy.
I appreciate it.
Do you like do you start with a mock-up usually, or do you kind of just go to
You know
town?
what? I don't. It's all kind of in my head. I have like a little bit of a way to like, I'll show it for some people, like, you know, because some people need to see it visually. Like, I understand not everybody's in my head. So it's just like, even with this one right here, there's so many different layers on this, and it was just all basically, I'll look at the shoe, kind of have a concept of what I think about, then I'll take a bunch of fabrics, lay them all out, see how they flow together, if I like it. But this shoe here, this was probably my most, out of all the stuff that I've posted, the one that really, like, it got picked up by a couple of sneaker blogs and got like tens of thousands of likes and stuff. So this is probably one of the bigger ones. But this is one, again, a freestyle that I did for myself. And if you saw these, so first of all, these are Jordan 11 Cool Grays. Like, these used to be Cool Grays, you know. And if you saw what they looked like before, I kind of have like a video of it on my page. But if you saw what these looked like before, I don't think anybody here would believe it. Like, you know, maybe you guys would because you know what I do. But for the public, this shoe was completely destroyed. So it was actually customized by somebody else on eBay, and I bought it for like super cheap. The paint job was horrible. The suede was peeling and cracking. And I think these are from like 2006, so they're pretty old too. But you can see the cool gray bottom and kind of see how, like, you know, that's worn down. But again, this was a pair for myself, but I completely reconstructed these. Actually turned these soles into suede.
So how do you do that?
Yeah, like that's crazy.
Yeah, so the highest level of what I do is this, and it's, you know, there's tiers of what I provide. And for this one, so what I do is I'm actually removing all the layers of the sole. So you have the rubber that comes off, this that comes off, and then there's a carbon fiber sheet. And I learned all this through while I was restoring and stuff.
Yeah, did you take a course online or did you just self?
Yeah, just all like, you know, all just learning on my own and just teaching myself. Honestly, just using those architectural engineering skills to reverse engineer shoes. And I know that sounds crazy, but
You can see it in your work,
yes,
bro. Like,
well,
you really can.
I see it in my head that when I got these two are probably my most proud pair because of the way I built them. And if I showed these to some guys and they saw, like the guys that know, if I showed them the machines that I used, how I did this, I don't think they would believe me. Because there's like a bunch of tiers. Like there are guys that will just put like, you know, they'll change the toe box and they'll glue it on, or sometimes they'll stitch it and then, you know, but you take that to the like shoe surgeon, like one of these big dogs, they're gonna be like, oh, that's cute, like, you know, but you don't really know, you know, you didn't really do the whole thing. But this one, this is my own. I call it a hidden stitch that I put in on both of these pairs here, these two. I have these hidden stitches that I'll do, and the way I like reverse build the shoe, it would be something that I would feel very comfortable with showing one of these big guys because I'm getting their results by doing it in half their time and able to, you know, just have a different approach to it. And it's really hard to explain. I know it kind of sounds a little bit like scattered and crazy, but I'm achieving results that I would have had to pay to learn to get courses like for it. And we're talking thousands of dollars to learn these techniques because to learn to build a shoe from scratch, you know, those courses are anywhere from $2,000 to $7,000.
Bro, and I'm not gonna lie to you, this stuff right here, bro, is like, this might be your style that nobody else is seeing. I would agree with the Gucci and everything, but like this type of stuff, like if I seen this in a shoe store, like I
want those.
I'm grabbing these. Like,
that's one of my favorite pairs. Yeah, and that was the first pair I ever did where I removed the sole and did my hidden stitch, and then like also I do like a folding stitch as well too, which again it's very long and confusing, but it's stuff that like would wake me up in the middle of the night, or like I'd go to sleep dreaming about it and wake up and have like a way, because I would do all these techniques. I'm like, it doesn't look right. It doesn't look like I'm not able to get the results that I'm seeking on this. And then it kind of just clicked, and I just kind of marinated on it, took that shoe apart, and boom, I did it. And I was like, I was so proud of that shoe right there.
This is crazy.
Because you can't tell. That looks like, you know, if you look at the little details, again, the guys that really know, they could tell. But if they looked at some of the details, they'd be like, oh, you did it this way. And I'd be like, nope, I actually have my own little lane for that. So
I want to continue talking about your shoes.
Yeah.
Okay. But there's an elephant in the room.
What's that?
Okay. I gave you a pair of shoes this week.
Yeah, I gotta see him.
And I know Trey did too.
I gotta see him.
And I have no idea what you did with them.
Yep.
But I can't. I feel like I'm like watching my sibling open up their presents right now on Christmas morning, and I'm like, oh shit, he put it in the box.
I put it in a box.
We put it in the air
here.
box.
Here we go. That's Vinnie's. And we got big feet over here, size 13.
You had to give him 2
needed,
boxes?
yeah. He's got one in each one, double branded and everything. So there we go.
All right,
Big
so
feet.
who's going
he's
first?
happy
You
to
go
go
the same time, or
Yeah, you got
want me to
2
go
and
first?
1. So yeah, that would make sense because he's gonna have to go through both.
all right, we ready for this? How should I open it up on the camera? You got me on here.
I'm excited to see these reactions.
I'm geeking. I ain't going.
I'm excited. We're gonna be posting a video of what these looked like before, because they definitely didn't look like this.
So I got these at a thrift store.
Yeah.
I
think,
bought them off the rack at a thrift store for like $20.
Yeah, I saw the
They're
sticker.
Teal full.
Yeah.
What were they?
They have so
20,
many
30
different.
bucks, something like that.
Yeah, $24, $25. Wait till we see these.
Hey, I've never had cooler shoes in my life.
Hey, nah, he turned those up.
He did it with.
So we're gonna have to see what they look like. So I could, if you want me to, I could explain what's going on
Talk
this.
to me.
dude.
Talk to
Okay,
me.
so what happened with
Hold on,
those
I
is
gotta
they
see
were in pretty rough
Push this back
shape.
so the camera doesn't mess up Jesse's
I
shot.
could take that. Oh, you got it.
Okay.
So those
yeah, hold it right there.
obviously needed a restoration job. So what I did with those
Yo.
is the soles were completely white on those. We wanted to keep it athletic aesthetic. So the base shoe was already a nice teal, kind of goes with the colorway already. So we kept that natural. I added the yellow on the sole. So I redid the soles in a restoration. And then what I did is I cut the mesh out of the 4s. So if you're familiar with Jordan 4s, they have a mesh material that goes on the tongue and on the side panels. What I did there is I actually cut that
On
out.
the tongue too.
I deconstruct it using an X-Acto knife, cut it all out, and then I resew a hand painted. So what I did with that snakeskin is I hand painted that snakeskin to be the color, also hand faded it. I stitched that inside where the mesh would be on the Jordan 4s, and then I actually, on the back heel tab, I cut off the Jumpman. So the Jumpmans are plastic on the heels. I cut that off, and then I stitched into the sole and on the heel tab the Athletic Aesthetic logo, and then I did that on the tongue as well too. So
You putting them on? Let's see it.
Socks go stupid. With this.
I love those ones. That's the color. What's that? Oh yeah, yeah.
There's actually paper in it still.
But yeah, so a little bit of restoration, deconstruction, painted.
Yo.
That shit is tough.
How they look? Oh my God, they're beautiful.
I don't know how to show the camera properly.
God.
I'm just gonna sit here like this.
Yeah.
Ryan's gonna kill me for putting my feet on this.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie.
Gotta do like a DJ Khaled.
Dude, these are crazy.
But yeah, so that's like, and I I want to introduce like branding on the shoes for these companies, and that's kind of if you have a brand, what's the one piece that is missed out on? It's the shoes. And I see a lot of, and this is for people that are getting their stuff made. There's a lot of getting it made overseas, and so essentially it's a fake shoe that's being made with your brand, taking off Nike logos and getting your logos put on it. My thing is keep an original shoe. It's gonna have all the quality and everything. Let me do my work on it, and you're gonna get something like that, because we can get full like customization on it. He just gave me those and just said, just make them Athletic Aesthetic. So, that's what we get out of them. So Trey, we got yours. And these are contrasts. Like these are two
different.
Like two different styles, and yours are mixed match for each foot. So.
Y'all ready? Cause I'm ready.
Let me see it, bro.
No. Start me off with the feet.
Hey,
So I'll get into the details on these because there's little subtleties on that. Look at the inner part on those. How the inner part of the foot, how it's layered.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Got you over this.
Bro, yeah, that's
Bro, pull out the other one. You got to see them together. This shit's
so I have
crazy.
those completely mixed matched.
Yeah.
And I'll go into those here whenever he gets this last one out.
Hey, yo. These look crazy.
Holy shit.
These look crazy, my boy.
So what we did with those is,
God.
again, those needed some life to, and we're going to post a video, or at least I'll have it on my page, of what these looked like before, because they did not look like that. They were pretty rough up on the uppers. So what I did is they were gray and white, canvas-like Jordan
I know
ones.
exactly what shoes these were. You wear these a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so what I did with those is I wanted it to be layered, and I wanted to mix match all the patches. So if you look at each different patch on there, they're like layered differently, and you'll look at some of them hang over onto the sole. They're actually stitched into the sole, so theirs are never going to fall off or peel off. You could literally wear these for the rest of your life, and they're going to be good to go. All of it's all stitched together. I have multi-layer weaves on it where it's hiding behind the Nike logo, but then also I punched holes through the, where it says one team right on there. I punched holes through there for the laces to go through. I hand punched all the grommets in there, or eyelets, whatever you call them.
You see? Dog.
And it's multi-layered. And if you look at the A on the one Vinnie just had, I have the laces weaving through the A on that one.
This one?
Yep. So I tried to make it multi-layered, multi-dimensional.
You ain't tried, you did.
Bro, you absolutely crushed this. Look
So
at
I figured like a nice contrast. Like you got like
I can
simple
see
and
the-
sweet, and then you got the crazy.
We got a next live pod we do.
For Shody.
Florida.
For
guys
Shody.
That's
are
beautiful.
wearing these.
Yeah, no, I'm
Shody.
I'm honored to be able to create
Dude,
those. I
thank
think
you
it's so
so
much
much.
fun. Absolutely.
This
Yeah.
is-
So
I think
it's a
this might
pleasure.
be the first pair anybody's ever made for me.
Yeah, especially I was thinking about that. I was like, I gotta
I've
go
never-
all out. Yeah.
Yeah, I've made a few pair for myself. But
Absolutely.
It's always just like
Yeah.
it's more so like I'm just testing. Does this work?
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's like your prototypes.
And so
Can I take a picture?
Yeah,
this is
absolutely. Go
wild,
for it.
dude.
Yeah, I gotta
I ain't
capture
gonna lie.
some content. The after pictures, I did not have enough time. I think I left the studio
So
at like
let's-
2 in the
let's-
morning last night for this.
let's talk about this, right? So if they're listening, I want to speak to the people that I feel like at some point in my career as an artist, you look at someone who's got a table full of like incredible stuff. Like you're popping off. You got Kevin Hart, all these different guys on your page wearing your shoes, like, and they're listening to this, and maybe they're sitting there like, dude, I just want one good client.
Yeah.
Like, what do you say to them?
So it really comes down to that relentless working, because, all right, so you got to look at it like this. Like, I was doing everything. My intention wasn't like right off the bat, like, how can I make money off of this? Like, It was, how can I be undeniably great? We'll let all that other stuff follow. I think that's one of the greatest things that I can put out to anybody in any field. Be undeniably great, okay? So that's going to take some time. So when I first set out on this journey, like, and started realizing what I had with the hand sewing, and I was like, oh, man, like, this is different. Like, I don't know anybody that's doing this at this time, whenever I started this. I was like, all right, so I'm just going to go in the lab. Like, it's like a hibernation. I basically hibernated for like a couple years on this. I stayed in the lab, continually worked, continually made, like, and a part of it is you got to look at the market, be aware of what's going on around you, okay? And how could you be different? And how can you at least, and if you're going to be in the same field, how can you level up little details? There's a lot of little things that I do that I'm aware is different and unique compared to similar guys in my field, and that's all intentional. It was how you were talking about flowing business and creatives,
right?
Well, you bet that I'm all over who does what I do. I'm paying attention to it at all times, taking notes. I have lists of ideas of stuff that I want to create, and it's just constantly like, okay, what's the market? All right, I'm going to pivot this way. And I also think it's having that really good work. So, and there's no way around it other than putting in those hours. And
you can tell, bro.
You really gotta figure out what's different, like what's gonna attract, somebody of that stature. And I'm thankful. Whenever I first started, the first guy that kind of put me on and he kind of introduced like the idea, because I've seen like the Louis Vuitton and Gucci on shoes and clothes. I just kind of thought that was a cop out as an artist. I was like, man, I can't do that. So I actually met my boy. His name's Keone Kella. He was a pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates at the time. He got traded to the Pirates, and he had come across my work, and he was like, "Oh, so you do the sewing on shoes?" I was like, "Yeah, just kind of do it in my own way." And he was like, "Do you ever want to put like designer material on?" I was like, "I've thought about it," and I did. Like, he did see those Gucci ones that I did, but I didn't want to really be known for that at that time. He then kind of was like, "Well, I got people that'll pay X, Y, and Z for it." I said, okay.
I'm that guy.
Okay. I was really looking for a timeout, because we're talking at a time, I was at UPMC working in the office at UPMC. Bro, there couldn't have been a more opposite atmosphere that I could have been in. I was under my desk like this, hand sewing shoes, and like cutting out my shoes to prep, and then I take them home and work on them all night. I mean, I'm in a place where they don't allow stuff like this. Like, you're on a computer. I'm dealing with like medications and stuff, and I'll like sit there and like kind of write out my like what I want to do, and then I would bring the shoes in a little duffel bag, and then I had, like I said, it's a little sewing all, and that's where I started my Frankenstein stitch, and I was like doing it under my desk. Manager come by, it's like, hop on call. Hey, how you doing today? Like,
but really being there stitching.
Yeah, but that's how desperately
like,
I wanted
Jesse,
it.
all of your people that come in here to get health insurance have like the craziest shoes. Have you noticed that? This guy's just making cold calls to the UPMC customer list.
Yeah, it was great. I mean,
I can get you a deal on some killer insurance.
Oh yeah, right.
These are wild.
So I mean, yeah, it was. I was just so desperate to. I know it was maybe desperate's not the right word, but I was so eager and motivated to like, okay, I can't do this. I cannot live this office-based lifestyle where I'm doing stuff that I don't want to be doing all day long. I am literally going upstream here. Like, this is not for. I don't want to put all this energy and effort into something that I know I'm not gonna like or want to do for the rest of my life. So yeah, that's when I kind of left there. I went to go be a tailor at a sewing place where they do alterations and stuff, and they were in the process of moving me into the sewing room to start doing that. And this is after leaving that, like, a job that, I could use my degree and stuff, and I left all that to go work at a place that didn't require stuff like that. And then that's when I got the call from Keone, where he was like, I really like this stuff. Like, can we do some projects? And then I did 5 prototypes for him, and then the first buying client of my sewing stuff was Rick Ross. So that's when I was like, all right, we're in.
Yeah.
I'm good on this. Yeah,
that's
he hit me
huge.
up. I woke up one day. I just tagged him. I was just doing stuff again. I was just doing stuff all for prototypes. And I want this to be very clear. You were kind of asking me like what I suggest for the people. Do not put money at the top. It's not always about the money.
Talk about it.
You're gonna have to like grind this out and struggle. Like there's no, oh well, I need mine.
Yeah.
No. First of all, you have to earn that. You have to earn the fact that like you now have a product. Like think about Nike and all that stuff. All of the years and years, and they have all this other whatever. But point being is like you got to look at what they've established.
Right.
It doesn't happen overnight. You can't come out and be like, hey, I'm a shoe designer. I don't care how nice my stuff is. For me to walk out in the street and be like, hey, go buy this right now. It's like, and oh, why am I not getting sales? Woe is me. No. You need to build that. And I'm still in the process of building it. We have this here, but I'm still waiting to, I still have way more that this is 12% of where I want to be in the future. If that. So yeah, money is, I've done stuff for free. I was making prototypes, like learning on the fly. And, I started off hand punching thousands of stitches on these shoes. When I was doing Frankenstein stitches, we're talking maybe 50 to 100 stitches because I could do them rough. When you look at these, I'm double stitching every single factory stitch. I was doing that originally by hand with a little tool. And we're talking thousands, tens of thousands of stitches by hand. And I was doing those prototypes. I just, tag people on social media and like trying to get it. And I woke up the next morning and it was Rich Forever. And I click on it. And I'm like, oh, this is cute. What's this about? Is yo. I was like, Rich Forever. I click on it. Yeah. I click on it and I see 11.5 million followers. I was like, that's him. I was like, Rick Ross just hit me up. And yeah, he just got off. He was on ESPN earlier that morning. So when I tagged him, I guess he saw it because I had all my posts timed out for the morning. I guess he's like, yeah, I was just on the show and just seen your stuff. And he's like, I want X, Y, and Z. And, it was a good conversation. And once that happened, I was like, okay, like
time to go.
Yeah, we're really going to push on this. And I left my jobs and,
Dude, I love it.
rest is in history in the making. So
I'm really excited not only to receive a pair of custom shoes from you, dude, but to have you here, to
absolutely.
have gotten to know you. I'm like, we met literally 7 months ago.
Yeah, it all happened so quick. We met at the sneaker swap. I came up
shout
to
out
you.
to the guys from Sneaker Swap because I didn't even know that. They reached out to me and they were like, we'd love for you to set up a table here and do I did a sneaker giveaway for them.
Yeah,
to help like promote it or whatever. And then you came.
I pulled up for a little bit, but I'm sorry. I'm still in shock right now. I just keep looking at my shoes. Let me get back in the game.
But no, I mean, like, if you didn't come up and say what up, like, that's
because I was paying attention to you on
piece
that.
of this.
Yeah, I was watching you. Like, that sounds creepy, but yeah, I was watching you on social media. Like, I knew of what you did.
Yeah. So like, why did you come up and introduce yourself to me? Because I think as an artist, sometimes there's like a level of arrogance too that I've had to overcome, where it's like, I'm the best artist in this room. Like, even whether it's true or not.
Yeah, you got it. It's like an athlete.
They're gonna come up to me. They're gonna come talk to me, and it's like, no, you gotta sometimes just go talk to people.
Absolutely.
But like maybe, is there a piece of advice for maybe the artist that's like, I just want to let my work do the talking for itself?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like, what would you say to them?
Shut that ego down. Like, who are you? And I say that to anybody. I say that to myself. See, I'm very, very raw, self-critical. What people miss out is all those, we're talking countless hours of isolation in the lab working. If there's a number one critic or somebody that's reviewed or been self-aware, my God, I have analyzed, combed over my life, myself, my work, everything to the finest detail. So there's nothing you could tell me that's gonna hurt my feelings, because I know exactly where I stand in everything, like where this work stands, where I stand as a human, and I got a lot more to grow with. And I'm proud that when people see my stuff, they're like, you got to be like, how aren't you like famous? I'm like, thank you, but I'm aware that there are levels that I still need to get to. But I say shut that ego down, because we're in a society, like, and I really believe this stuff, like, this is more about life, where I think, especially in today's age, we all kind of have this idea with our phones and how we move and stuff that we're super significant. Now, yes, let me make it clear that you want to carry yourself with that level of significance and carry yourself that way. But eventually, one day, this world we know of, gonna be gone. Albert Einstein, LeBron James, all the whatever, insert name, Elon Musk. There's gonna be so many years down the road where every single person on this world was forgotten unless we become immortal. And maybe that happens, but there's no way of remembering. And it's just nature. It's just like, from what I understand, like, you know, we're all on a time limit. Like, you know, whether that's 10 million years or 50 to 100 years. Like, so my thing is that's freeing to me. That makes me say, okay, why am I working all my life at UPMC?
There's a, like you mentioned earlier, like that's a double-edged sword, because it's like there's battles that I fight in my mind as a creative where it's like, dude, none of this matters, so I'm just gonna create. And then there's other days I wake up and I'm like,
all of this matters.
No, none of this matters. So why even bother?
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah,
like,
I felt that too. Absolutely. Yeah.
So I've battled with that a lot.
Yeah.
None of this is gonna be here. So like,
doesn't matter.
So it's like that should set you free, right? You're like, none of this is gonna be here. So I'm just
then
gonna
it's
paint
that day
shoes all
you
day.
wake
and then
up
it's
and
like the
you're
day when
tired.
you're like tired and you're like, none of this matters.
Yep. And that's the fight.
And like it's constant, dude.
But it matters to me.
But you surround yourself with that people that keep reminding you of that, and that's very important. Now, you don't want yes men around you. You want people that are gonna be like, hey, you're slacking. Let's get it together. But at the same time, when you come in and you're like, man, this just ain't good. I mean, I love. I'm so thankful to have, you know, got to know you guys over these years and, you know, start to build this family and brotherhood, because I never really had that type of like, oh wow, this is and you know, it feels good to hear that, especially when you know how much effort you put into this stuff.
And
like
time.
it feels good.
Well, I said it in my post, bro. Like, I knew you were a dog because not only are you, you know, not only are you someone who I've seen come up to me, introduce yourself to me, and do all this stuff, but like on top of that, bro, like you sat in that studio and you put in the work, and you didn't hit me up and like, what's going on, like, you know, what's next, like, what do you got, like, you just did the work.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm glad, you know, I thank you guys for even noticing that and paying attention, because a lot of the stuff gets unnoticed. So very grateful for
I want to have you back on the show.
Absolutely.
So you're working here now. So let's wrap today's episode. I want to just thank you guys for watching. Make sure that you follow Jesse on social media. One of the major questions I have for you, maybe we'll say it like on another episode, but like, I know you have the 2 accounts. Is there a specific one you'd rather them follow?
So I think the Jesse Woods Archives, Jesse Woods _archives is good. It's the one, the collection is the one Rick Ross blew up. And that's why, and that was a different name at that time. So I just have 2 different like kind of fan bases, but I have plans for how I'm going to maneuver that moving forward. So,
all right, we'll put them in the description. And Jesse, thank you for coming on today. Thank you for the shoes, dude.
Appreciate you.
I'm really grateful, man.
Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, check him out. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure you're following along on social media at Athletic Aesthetic Pod. Follow me and Trey on there. Got a lot of good stuff coming up for the show.
So hold off on that.
And Jesse, thanks, dude.
Absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate y'all.
Sign out. This is Athletic Aesthetic.
And we love you.
Appreciate it.